All right, guys, welcome back into the illustrious Three Strands
Studio.
Oh,
Gosh,
so I'm gonna give a little plug.
Plug it.
Plug.
You know, we got 30 new chickens, so we have tons of eggs. So we're selling eggs, and
So many.
I got some little plastic containers, and I got some Three Strands stickers to put on them. So we have like a little branded egg deal now. So if you need some eggs, let us know.
No, the stickers aren't on the eggs.
No, they're just on the carton.
Just to clarify.
But I thought about getting a stamp. You can get a stamp.
I've seen the stamps, but then you have to clean the eggs, or you're stamping over.
Yeah. Well, these eggs are not bad because the way in the new coop area and the way they do it, they don't get them. The old coop, they were nasty. Not this
the new
one.
coop. We done
coop.
pretty good.
Yeah. So welcome back in to Two Baptists and a Mormon Walk into a Pentecostal Church for episode number 30.
30.
Number 30. 30.
30.
We just recorded just for fun. So if you listened to that episode last week, as we were ending that, Jeremy tried not to cough, and it turned into this weird thing, and I think we caught the tail end of that. So maybe you heard a little bit into that one.
And
so
you are welcome.
You're welcome.
There you go. Unedited.
That's what we do.
Raw.
Do you know, in 30 episodes, really 31, because we had one that nobody has ever heard we won't release.
It's unedited.
I've already deleted it.
So that if it's not there, does it exist?
It doesn't exist. But my point is, we've recorded 31 episodes all in one take. We've never edited a single podcast.
Other than dumping one.
The what?
Yeah, other than dumping the
dumping one.
Yeah.
Well, that was a big edit. Delete.
Yeah, that was a big edit.
No, I mean, I think that's what I love about this, is it is what it is. I mean, it's
real,
just,
raw, and unfiltered.
I mean, you get the chickens in the background, you get the rooster, you get the
somebody coming up the
driveway. I mean,
we were with Robbie and Vanessa last week in Texas, and they listened to the podcast, and Robbie's like, I love it. He's like, but sometimes he's like, y'all get off on tangents. He said, I just shake my head going, what are they doing now?
That's just because he's jealous. He wants to be hidden on down.
Hey, they're coming in 2 weeks. Maybe we should have him on a podcast.
Oh, that would be good.
Yes.
That would be good.
We could have him talk about finances. Like
that's boring.
It is boring. Well, what can we have to talk
Robbie,
about?
I'm just kidding.
Hey, Robbie, love you, bud.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay on your good side, but Jeremy.
So tonight. One of y'all should have said, whoa.
Well, I was kind of trying to figure out what song you were going to, so I think there's a couple that do that, isn't there?
I don't know.
Whoa was in my mind, but I figured I didn't want to cough again.
You need more medication.
Yeah, my Mucinex is wearing off.
So this episode is called Playing Church.
Dun, dun, dun.
And I wanted to do this, honestly, just for me, because there was a season I want to talk about in my 20s that I literally was playing church. And I'm sure I have multiple times through the years, don't get me wrong, but a specific time in my 20s. But I think this is something that every believer has experienced at some point or time, right? Like there's no way that you have been a believer longer than 10 minutes and you've not gone through that season where you may be physically there in the building, but that's the extent of it, right? You're going through the motions, and I want to clarify because our wives gave us some input before we started this episode to make sure we clarify. And it's true, going through the motions is not always a bad thing. Sometimes going through the motions is all that you have. That's not what we're talking about. Sometimes you're going to go through the motions, and that's what's going to get you to the other side of whatever you're dealing with. Mm-hmm. But what I'm specifically talking about is going through the motions in that it's fake. There's nothing there. You're not trying to get to the other side. You're playing church because you can do it.
For my instance, that playing church it pacified my wife or my girlfriend at the time. We weren't even married yet. Right. But when she said, hey, we've been dating for a while, and I know you don't really go to church because you've been hurt. But if you want to continue this with me, you're gonna go to church. You're gonna get in and be a part of this. And so, I went Sunday mornings to keep her happy. I didn't have to go on Wednesday nights. I didn't have to go on Sunday night. Sunday morning was enough to keep her pacified. And so I would show up, and that's all I would do is show up because it kept the peace.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and say it early in this episode and get out of the way. It's about heart posture.
We didn't even get that in.
We didn't heart posture in the last one. So
heart posture.
Singing bass, I love it. But no, I mean, if you look at Job, Job was going through the motions to get through that time of trial.
Absolutely.
But he wasn't going through the motions just because it was in the Bible Belt and that's what he needed to do. And he was living like the devil on Saturday night through, Monday through Saturday, and then just going to church to go to church because it was the thing to do. I mean, he was literally suffering. He was going through the motions at the time to get him to the other side. He was searching for the answers, looking for the answers, but, it was just all he could do to be there.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm trying to think how to properly frame this. I think there are different types of playing church, right? I think there is the performance, right? We go to church on Sundays, we sing, we raise our hands, we tithe, we serve, we smile, we do all the things, right? And I think that's the easiest one that you kind of go in and out of, right?
So I think I actually just preached on this a couple of weeks ago. We were at the church doing the 7 churches of Revelation. And I preached on the church of Sardis.
Yep.
And you want to talk about a church that was a church going through the motions, but had no fire, had no life on the inside.
Looked right.
It looked right from the outside. It was a very successful church. I mean, that's the crazy thing. And that's where we're at today as a church society, is sadly, is a lot of people are just that. They're going to and being a part of a successful church, but they're dead on the inside. They literally, the definition, Sardis, what those people were doing, were literally playing church, but were dead.
Yeah.
And that in essence is what we're talking about. I mean, look, I always used to make the joke, I could get a church shout and I knew what to do.
Right.
But my heart wasn't in it.
Right.
But I could raise my hand, do a dance or do one thing and the place would go crazy.
Well,
and it wasn't spirit. That's the difference.
And back to the heart posture piece of it, right there. And I think where the performance comes in, and especially in this season of all of our lives, we all hold positions in church,
right?
And so there are eyes on us. So there's a pressure, I think, that we tend to put on ourselves of, I have to raise my hands. I have to say amen. I have to do those things because people are watching, right? And that's the wrong heart posture.
It's true.
People need to see you not be okay.
And see, that right there to me is the biggest problem in the church.
Yeah.
There's too many leaders, pastors, elders, deacons, whatever your structure is at your own home church. The issue is that you're not willing to let people see that you suffer. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because which has caused a lot of problems, not only in the Pentecostal church, but in the Baptist church, every denomination out there, because the pastor is trying to appear to be this perfect person when they're not.
Yeah.
The fact is that 2 elders and a pastor at our church, we are human.
Yeah.
We suffer. We go through things. And guess what? There are Sundays when I show up to church and I just don't feel it. I have been struggling all week. The devil's been coming at me, but I know I need to be at the place where I need to be, and that's church.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to push in, to push through. And like I've said before, that's why you never judge anybody's praise.
No.
Because the fact is them just getting there is their praise.
That may be their sacrifice for that day.
For sure. 100%. Right. And two, it goes back to head and heart knowledge. Our hearts are deceitful, right? And our heart is where we feel. And in those seasons where you don't feel anything, where you're sitting on the pew and you realize all the people around you are having this encounter that you're not having, and you go, but God, I do want that encounter. And in those moments, God doesn't always show up in the ooey gooey chill bumps.
No.
He just doesn't. And he doesn't have to. Again, if God never manifests himself again until the day I die, it's enough.
It's enough. And
that's where you have to get. You have to get to the place where your head knowledge goes, it doesn't matter how I feel about any of this. I know what the Word of God says, and that's what I'm going to stand on, and I'm going to keep on doing the things, the positive going through the motions. I'm going to raise my hand because I can say God is good, even if. It has to be the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego moment.
Yeah.
But even if it doesn't.
Because God's not only, oh man, I believe, look, don't throw stones at me because my brain's not working right now. Elijah, when Jesus hit him in the rock, in the cave, right? The earthquake came, all the different things, but where was Where was Jesus?
Yeah,
It was in the
still small voice.
It wasn't in all the stuff.
Yeah.
But God is also in the earthquake.
That's
God
right.
is
100%.
also in, he is in everything. And if it's okay, I think if it's all right, I'm just going to read 6 verses real quick.
Read.
And this is Revelation 3, and this is about the church of Sardis, because I really believe this kind of, and please forgive me if I'm completely off, but when we were talking about this is the first thing that hit me.
Yeah.
Came to my spirit. And Revelation 3 verse 1 says this, "And to the angel of the church in Sardis write the words of him who has the 7 spirits of God and the 7 stars. I know your works. You have a reputation of being alive, but you are dead. Wake up and strengthen what remains and is about to die, for I have found your works complete in the sight of my God. Remember then what you received and heard." See, that's key, that verse 3. Remember then what you have received and heard. Keep it and repent.
Mm-hmm.
If you will not wake up, I will come like a thief, and you will not know at what hour I will come against you.
Yeah.
Verse 4 says, yet you have still a few names. See, that was a good thing about Sardis. They still had a few names in Sardis, people who have not soiled their garments, and they will walk with me in white, for they are worthy.
Mm.
The one who conquers will be clothed thus in white garments, and I will never blot his name out of the book of life. I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches.
Yeah.
See, that right there is in essence what we're talking about
100%.
here. It is, he knows our works. And the thing is, Church of Sardis, so the Church of Sardis back in the day, here's the interesting thing. Most of the churches in the 7 churches would have been considered mega churches.
Yeah.
They were blowing up. They had the smoke.
They were being added to daily.
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
But yet, all but 2, 5 out of the 7 had problems.
Yeah.
Had major,
rebuked in one way or another.
Yes, major problems. And that, well, never mind. So just a real fast rabbit trail. See that if you would actually read Revelation, to read Revelation and quit reading Revelation to find out when Jesus is coming back and when the rapture is going to happen and when the church is leaving.
Go ahead.
Quit doing that and read Revelation for what it's saying. Because in the 7 churches, God describes who he is to that church.
Yeah.
That's the first verse of every church when he starts talking. Start studying Revelation to learn what God is trying to speak to us. Because the thing is, in these 7 churches, there's a piece of every church in our church today.
100%.
Yeah. Big time.
And it's interesting how the enemy has made Revelation so mysterious and people don't feel comfortable studying it. And It's just been added to and added to.
And it's like this mystical, it's like everybody wants to read it. It's what's the movie? Nicolas Cage is in it where they're trying to find all the
Left
secrets.
Behind? Oh, National Book of Treasure.
National Treasure. When they're trying to find all the secrets too, they go to the Vatican, they go to all these places, They do all the things. That's what Revelation has turned into for most people.
It has.
There is no secret code. It's pretty simple. As we're in the days of Moses. Check. That's all we need to know. It's up to, only thing we need to worry about is make sure our lamps are full and make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do. None of the rest matters.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to talk about this subject of playing church.
And I think you talked about it a little bit last time, but one thing that I think we see sometimes, and this again, big C, right? Big C, is we do want to do so many things, or everything we do should be done with excellence.
Mm-hmm.
When we're focused more on the delivery of the excellence than the delivery of the Spirit, which I think we can all get there at some point.
Absolutely.
100%.
We do
when
get there.
When things go like a well-oiled machine, people will speak and invite their friends, and you've got to be there because this is a great experience and you want to be a part of this, right? And I think that's how some of these churches got to the point of growing like they did, is because they were focused on those outward things and not
seeker sensitive.
Correct. Not even that the seeker sensitive, but they were focused on, sometimes I think, especially in maybe this instance, is we gotta look the part. We got to play the part. We got to show the part. We got to show everything that's here and be good, because how we deliver it is more important than what we delivered. And that's a very
The how instead of
dangerous,
the what.
it's a very dangerous place
That's
to
good.
be, because the reality is we got churches out there with pastors who are farmers for a day job. We got churches out there with pastors who are construction workers for their day job. They're not in full-time ministry, and they are teaching and preaching, and the Spirit will fall in those churches just like He will in those that have a PhD.
100%.
Right, because they're more focused on just ensuring that they're delivering the truth, delivering the word, and being there. And so at different times, I think we have to sit back and look and go, okay, playing church doesn't just mean what it was for me at that moment, right? When we first started dating, and I got called out from it by a prophet while we were there, basically, right? Which is what was kind of my wake up call, slap in the face.
And thank God for those wake up calls, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Because we wouldn't be where we are today without them. And so, but we have to be cautious about that. And I mean, it's the same thing, even in kids ministry, you get tired. Sometimes they don't listen. Sometimes they don't, pay attention, or the weather's just weird and they're all wound up. And you're like, what are we doing here today? Well, better not just go through the motions. And those are the days where I have to step back individually with myself and say, okay, Lord, I don't have it today. You're going to have to step in. You're going to take this, because
the sacrifice of praise, right?
Correct. I mean, we're here, we're prepared, we're ready, but you're going to have to take control of this, because I can't keep them under control. And sometimes those are the services where we end up that the kids are on their face.
Yeah.
At the end of it in worship, and it was all a distraction in the beginning.
The Lord says, I got this.
Yeah.
And that's the funny thing about it is some of the best quote unquote mistakes in the delivery were the best thing that could happen.
Yeah.
Because again, it's not about our strength. It's all about His strength. Being instant in season and out of season, right? The word does say be instant in season, out of season. But when you're out of season, which to me means when you are you literally, it's everything you could do to pick your feet up, one foot in front of the other, and get in the doors.
You still rely on Him?
You rely. Yes, sir. Rely on Him.
I think when we talk about performance, I think it easily, if you don't address it, you don't correct it, it moves over into the slow fade, right?
Oh yeah, sure.
Where it's not like a sudden switch where you just stop, but all of a sudden you're not reading your Bible every day.
Right.
You're singing the songs, but now you're not really singing them. You're just kind of mumbling through them. You're not paying attention. So you don't pray as much. All those things that the enemy starts pulling things away from you, and you allow him to. And all of a sudden you realize, I haven't meant what I've been singing about in months. I haven't felt His presence in months. I haven't had a serious prayer time in months.
Yep. Well, even in those, and with people that I've talked with, right, when you have those moments where they're like, this happened and I walked away, when they sit back and reflect, there was a slow fade before that.
Right.
That may have been the marker moment. But rarely is there an instance in your life where something happens to where it's just, I'm done. Right. It's a slow fade that builds you to that point, and then you're ready to walk away and not play anymore, if you would, right? And I'm not going to go through the motions. I'm not going to this, but there was a slow fade that led up to it. And if we would recognize that earlier, right, I think we would get more and more services like we had under the tent.
Yeah.
At church. I mean,
that was
just absolutely.
I still haven't fully processed that, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, the only words that I can come up with is it was beautifully organic.
Yeah.
It just was.
And seeing the process of it, talking about the slow fade, it's not necessarily on purpose.
No, of course not.
Like from the aspect of, man, we did it this way in the service, and man, God moved.
Yeah,
God moved. You know what? Let's go back to that well.
that you think that's the recipe.
You think that's the recipe?
The recipe.
The
Right
recipe
there.
was your heart posture.
Right.
That's right.
At that moment, the recipe was unity.
Right.
The recipe was the house being in one accord, all seeking after the glory. The recipe wasn't that you sang the first and third verse and then the chorus and you skipped the second. So from then on, you skip the second verse because that must have been the magic pill.
Right.
So
wasn't it?
The recipe.
And that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, and because then again, then the focus is taken off of where it should be.
Yeah.
Because it's then taken off onto what we're doing instead of just God doing what God wants to do.
Unity, right? And you said it earlier. We have your Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego moment. But even if he doesn't, right? So if we all come together and we're all in accord and we all worship, but the glory didn't fall like that today.
Yeah.
We have to be okay with it.
Got to be okay with it.
We have to be okay with that. It doesn't mean we did anything wrong.
No.
And I believe that the Bible is very clear that he's seeking those that worship him in spirit and in truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's looking for those that do that, and he'll pour out the windows of heaven and pour out the blessings. Those blessings don't always come in the same manner. It may not always be a service to where everybody is laid out on the floor and just wanting to do nothing but sit in the presence.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's joy. Maybe this service, it's laughter. Maybe this service, it's healing. Maybe this service,
maybe it's a corrective word.
That was my next one. Is maybe it's a corrective thing at that point. Maybe it's compassion. Maybe each time the Spirit is going to pour out what you need, not what you're looking for. But when we don't get what we're looking for, do we try to stir it?
And see, I think that's where discipleship has been lacking in the church on a lot of different sides, because we've talked about it on this program before. I mean, the Pentecostal Church sometimes I'm going to catch flack for this one.
No, it's not just the Pentecostal Church.
No. It's not just the Pentecostal Church, but I'm saying, in other words, on the Pentecostal Church side, it's all about the feeling. And then you don't know how to live Monday through Saturday.
Yeah, without the feeling.
Without the feeling. Because you're not always going to feel that in everyday life. Now, on the Baptist side of things, it's all about the teaching and the drilling of the word and that aspect of the discipleship. So that's why I'm saying everything is so key. It is spirit and truth. What is truth? Truth is word. So if you're not doing it in spirit and in truth, then you're a disservice. And the reason why I bring up Pentecostal Baptist Church, Pentecostal is focused on the spirit of the truth and not as much about the word of truth. And then it's the other side on the Baptist. It really is, because there's so many people leaving church, both sides of it. Pentecostal side, they leave church because they can't reconcile the fact of, why don't I feel like this on this and this and this and this and this, and like I was supposed to on Sunday, and then they come and then they don't feel it because they've been beaten down and they're beat to death. Well, why aren't you doing flips in the altar? But then on the other side of that is there is no power with the Spirit on the word side, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it has to be.
So there's no strength there. So that's why it needs to be hand in hand, spirit and in truth, which then leads to what? All knowledge, which then goes to the heart posture, which then goes to the helping
key,
of God.
I think, to all that too is the Lord wants us to feel His presence. Absolutely. Like He doesn't withhold that from us.
No. Right.
And I think that frames perfectly the next question that I had. So what's the difference between a dry season that you still have real faith in and a slow fade? Because those are two different things. So I want to talk about that for a minute, because there are times where the Lord is quiet. And I think those times are training times for us. I think they're times for us to deepen our faith and go, again, back to Shadrach, Meshach, even if He doesn't. Their dry seasons are for a reason. And that's hard to understand, because whether you're Pentecostal or not, we all want to feel.
Of course.
We love to feel.
And we should. It's an emotion.
Absolutely. 100%. So what's the difference in a dry season where you really do still have faith in the Lord versus a slow fade that has really just become truly just empty performance.
The answer that it always goes back to in my mind is heart posture.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, a slow fade, you don't always recognize that it's happening until it's done.
Right.
Right. Or you surround yourself with people, right, that you trust. And we've talked about this before, that you have given permission to speak into your life. I mean, you both sitting at this table. If you see me rolling a slow fade, we had a conversation the other day, Brian and I did a couple weeks ago, and he goes, listen, if you really feel this way, then hang on. Right. And spoke some hard truth in that moment. And that can stop that slow fade.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But it's important that you surround yourself with those. A dry season, there may be times where you sit around and go, I don't feel. But in those moments, I have to turn around and look and go, but can I see?
Right.
Can I still see him in the morning sunrise? Can I still see him in the beauty of the sunset? Can I still see him and hear him in the wind? Can I acknowledge the creation that he's given? Right? I may not feel him right now, but can I see it? Or I need to remember, right? That we talked about it Sunday. Anything, I think it was Philippians 4:8. Anything good, lovely, just, true. You think on these things, right? Any of those things. So remember back. Remember to the good things. Remember to the things he's given you. Count your blessings, right? All those things. What are you seeking? That's what you're going to find. Are you seeking him, or are you seeking everything that's going on bad? Right. And so, but even if he doesn't, and I don't feel it right now, can I find him in the other things?
Right.
To me, that's what keeps me separated from taking that slow fade.
And it's hard sometimes to differentiate the two,
Oh,
right? You may think you're
it
just in a
is.
dry season, and then you wake up one day and you went,
Oh my gosh.
no, this is not a
Yeah.
dry season. This is me.
Yeah.
Like I've drifted. I untied the
Where
anchor
he's always
from my
been.
boat. The anchor stayed, and I untied the rope, and I'm just drifting.
He's right where he's always been, and we allow life to get in the way.
So that's one thing I've said a lot. God gets blamed for a lot of things he didn't do.
For sure.
Because at the end of the day, God is the constant, period. We are the ones who disconnect.
Yeah.
And pull away. He is the constant in everything. Going to back what the question, I think honestly the slow fade and what is it, the slow fade and what was the other one?
Versus
dry season.
Versus dry season. I think they're the same thing.
Okay.
They're exactly the same thing. It's just at the end of the day, where's your heart at?
Yeah, yes, I think I think your point is right in that a dry season and a slow fade are the same, minus the dry season. You still have faith to believe for it. I think the slow fade you just
At
get.
the end
Whatever. I'm not.
Yeah, and
I'm
then
not
you
trying.
just give up.
Yeah,
you just give up on the fact, because the one thing that we've talked about on this podcast of teached and taught. That's great English, man. That Fairlands Christian education did me well. I've taught. Is that it at the end of the day, yeah, I've lost my train of thought. That messed me up so bad that I missaid that word.
Maybe you were going to say you preached, but then it was teach.
Yeah.
Preach. So maybe you just messed up your words, but not in a very embarrassing way.
Dry season, fade.
Yeah, it's just the thing, gosh, I wish I could have a playback. See, we don't edit. You're welcome. No, it's just it's your heart at the end of the day, right? Where you're going, because I've been in both. I've been in the dry season, and then I was in the slow fade, and then I was like, you know what? No, I know where I was going now. Because what we've taught, preached, and about a lot is the fact is, when you become a Christian, when you take a step of faith, when you say, okay, God, I'm surrendering, you thought that you had trials before. Now the real trials kick in, and each trial, honestly, is bigger and bigger. And that's not to scare anybody. It just is what it is. But when you come through that trial, when you come through that dry season, and then you're on the other side of it, when you hit that next dry season,
it don't feel as dry.
You know what? If God can bring me through this, that back there, he can bring me through this. That's why Revelation right there, it says, remember what you received and heard.
Yeah.
See, he's speaking to the church. I mean, he's speaking to us, and that's red letters. Jesus is telling us, remember, don't forget what you know to be truth. And that's the difference in the slow fade and a dry season. Because at the end of the day, if you're remembering, you may not feel it, but if you remember, man, God, look, I don't feel you right now, but I trust you, and I know you brought me through, you're going to do it again.
Yeah.
That's the dry season. The slow fade is you're like, you know what? It's just not worth it anymore. And then you turn your back. And when you turn your back, just read Revelation 3, verse number 5. Because when you turn your back, once saved, always saved is a myth. It is not the truth. And if you want to say it's the truth, the more I have studied the Bible for the truth of the matter of what the Bible truly says, the more I find out where Jesus himself says things like,
well, it's a get out of jail free card when you're playing church, I think, oftentimes. But anyway,
thank you.
So
see, that's why I was leaving it hanging. I was hoping somebody was going to pull that.
I want to share a testimony in this next section, so you bear with me. John, I think you've heard this. Jeremy, I don't know if you've heard this testimony or not, because I've only shared it once, I think, publicly at a men's retreat years ago. But there was a season of my life I'm not proud of, but in my early 20s, I was a deacon in my church. And I think my mom's heard this story. If not, Mom, I'm sorry that you're hearing it now for the first time on a podcast, but I think you know this story too. I hope, dear God.
Listen, your mama knows everything.
She does. But I was, I don't know, early 20s, somewhere between 20 and 22. And I was a deacon in my church. I was teaching Sunday school. I was leading worship on Sundays. And it was all fake. I would have split hell wide open had I died in that moment. And when I tell you I was playing church, I mean, I would go in on Sunday mornings and teach Sunday school, and I knew everything that I was teaching was real, and it was the word. And it was the weirdest thing for me, because even in those seasons, I feel like I felt his presence, but I was so far away from him. And I'm going to give you this whole testimony, and it's going to be very telling for me, but I think it's worth telling. So I got addicted to Xanax, and I had some people I worked with that basically had a limitless supply of Xanax. And every Friday night, I would go to their house, and a whole group of us, we'd eat Xanax and drink and go out. And I would wake up on Saturday morning, sometimes at home, and my car would be there, and sometimes it wouldn't, and I wouldn't have a clue where it was or how I got home. Or I'd wake up at somebody's house that I shouldn't be at. And it was a horrible season. I had an affair with a married woman. I had a girl that I was seeing that was married. And I was leading worship on Sunday mornings and teaching Sunday school when I was a deacon in the church. And this went on for 9, 10 months. And I played church with the best of them. I mean, with the best of them. I knew how to speak the language. I knew how to talk the talk. I knew how to make everybody that I was around think I was the cat's meow. Look at him. He's a deacon. He's 21 years old. He's a deacon in this church, and he's teaching Sunday school, and he's leading worship. And I was lost as last year's turkey. Like, I just, and it's wild to me looking back now. And I remember the moment that the Lord came to me in such a wild and crazy way. We had been out. There was a place in North Carolina. It was a club called Someplace Else. And so when my mama would say, "Where are you going?" I'd say someplace else. And I would be lying. But we had gone out that night, and there was a young lady in my hometown who, she just was very free-loving. I'll just say that. And I had taken Xanax. I had drank. I have no recollection of the night up until I am back at her house, and I'm going home with her. That's the long and short of it. And it's 3:30 in the morning. We'd stayed at the club till 2:00, and we had gone back to her house, and her mom got up as we came in. And I'm still not all there, right? But when you're going home with somebody and their mom gets up in the middle of the night, it's a weird thing.
Right.
Right. And shame hits me. Conviction, shame, whatever you want to call it at first, because her mother comes in, and I think it's going to be, "Well, what are you doing?" And she says, "When you all get done, what do you want for breakfast?" I'm sorry.
Yeah. Wait, what? Yeah.
And in a moment, there was no impairment left in my body. I mean, it's like the Holy Spirit came and smacked me in the face, and I immediately stood up and I said, "I'm so sorry, I have to go." And from that day on, I stopped drinking. I never took another Xanax. I gave my life back to the Lord. But all that to say this, if you're in that place in your life where you're playing church to that level, there's still hope.
Oh, absolutely.
He's not moved a single bit. And you know what the crazy thing is? How good is the Lord to one to stop me from doing what I was getting ready to do, but just to show up there and be like, "Hey." And it was a still small voice. It wasn't in the thunder. It wasn't in the lightning.
Yeah.
It was just a, "Hey." And all of a sudden, I wasn't drunk anymore.
Yep.
I didn't feel any effects of the Xanax. I was cognizant. I was aware. I was awakened to my situation, to that if I died around that moment, I would have gone to hell. I was aware of all those things in the blink of an eye, and it shifted the trajectory of my life. I went back to church on that Sunday, and I repented and I confessed, and I told my pastor what I had done, and I said, "I need to step aside." And he said, "No, you don't." He said, "If you've just done what you said you've done," he said, why would you step aside?" He's like, "The Lord's dealt with that and fixed it." So it just shifted the trajectory of my life. I stopped seeing the married lady, all the things, right? Like it all went away. And I know it doesn't happen like that for everybody. Sometimes deliverance looks different for people. Sometimes it's not immediate. But what is the same for everybody is the outcome, right? You stop playing church. Stop trying to be what people have told you need to be. And take that pressure off you, because that, I think the Big C Church does a disservice to leadership, to pastors, to elders, to deacons, to people who are serving, to not allow them to just go, "Man, I am not in a good place. I'm struggling right now. I need help. I need to step away. I need to," whatever that looks like, instead of, and I'm not saying that the leadership of church puts this on people. I think we put it on ourselves because there's an expectation that we put on ourselves to say, "I can't do that. There are too many people looking at me. There are too many people watching me."
Or I don't want to let down.
I don't want to let down. And you know what's crazy about that, John, is the reality is we're less concerned about letting the Lord down than we are the people who look at us on Sunday mornings. And it's a dangerous place.
How about yes, people are watching. Yeah, people are watching. And they may see you go down to that altar, and they may see you fall on your face and weep before the Lord. So what?
Yeah.
What if, because they're watching, that now opens an opportunity for them to go, "Oh, well, if they can do that, I can too." Maybe they've been holding back, right? I'm not saying go down and fake it, because that's playing church again, right?
Yeah.
That's another type of playing church. Yep. So you're not priming the pump by going to the altar hoping that people will follow. But if you're worried that somebody's going to look at you different because you're at the altar pleading for something with the Lord, or again praising Him in a way that nobody else is, or just sitting and basking in the presence, I don't care what they think about me.
Yeah.
It's for Him, not them. But it could be the one thing that opens up the opportunity for somebody else to go, "Oh, well, if they're in leadership and they can be broken like that, I can be broken like that.
Yeah.
I've been holding this back, and I can be broken like that."
Yeah.
Don't not go because you're worried about what someone's going to think about you.
No, and the other piece to all of this is be the person, be the friend that's willing to hold that person accountable.
Right.
Be the person that's willing to hold somebody's feet to the fire so they don't live in the fire eternally, right? Be the one to say, "Hey, John, buddy, I love you enough. I'm not going to let you do this. Hey, Jeremy, I love you enough. I'm going to tell you, you're on the wrong path, and not from a self-righteous place. Because my gosh, how much worse is it when somebody in leadership falls publicly, and
everybody wants to kick them to the curb.
That's right, and then what happens to all the people that have looked to that person and followed that person?
Yep.
It's a downstream effect where people are affected to the nth generation because somebody they look to fell. And there has to be people in their lives that saw it and knew it was happening.
Knew it. I know for a fact, I'm not going to say the pastor's name who fell, but I know for a fact, so I've talked to some people that were closely associated with this one said pastor who fell very publicly, and they knew it.
Yeah.
They straight up knew it, but they didn't, So I'm going to kind of tie it in this way. Peer pressure is not a good thing, right? Everybody wants to talk about peer pressure, and everybody wants to talk about peer pressure in school, right? I was pressured into drinking. I was pressured into whatever. There's peer pressure in church at times too.
Sure is.
A lot of times I have to act this way so I can be a part of. But there's also peer pressure on the aspect of, like Brian was saying, what if Brian felt the peer pressure of he was a leader and didn't want to go down? I can't go down there. What are people going to think?
Yeah.
That's what I mean by peer pressure. And Jeremy, you brought the point around so beautifully. Who cares? What does it matter? When I went into my epic slow fade and split hell wide open days of my life, literally down the middle.
Mm-hmm.
You know why that really happened? I was looking for one person that I could trust.
Yeah.
I didn't need a church. I didn't like church. I didn't trust church. I didn't trust preachers. I didn't trust any of it because of what I grew up seeing. I didn't trust any of them. I couldn't find one person that I trusted enough that would actually not judge me.
And that's a shame.
And so at that point, because I couldn't find one person that would come alongside of me and wouldn't judge me, I had no rope. I had nobody to grab hold to. I had nobody. I was so far gone. And listen, that didn't mean I didn't still have the head knowledge.
Yeah.
I had the head knowledge all day long. I still knew, but I didn't have the heart posture. I didn't have the heart knowledge. But I didn't have one person to help me. Yeah. I needed help. But you know what the beautiful thing is? Not one person ever came. One physical human person never came. You know who did come though? When I finally, in anger, dared God to do something. See, that's the thing about my testimony, man. It makes me laugh. Whew. Church people get so offended at times because they're scared of real.
But you know what? It's so funny you talk about that because I think back to that season of your life and I know where you were at. I don't think anybody but the Holy Spirit could have got your attention.
Probably not. So I didn't trust anybody.
Yeah.
Nobody. I could probably count on two fingers maybe people that I thought I could. Turned out I was wrong. I'll just put it that way.
That's sad.
And it to this day has affected my relationship.
Sure.
With those people.
Yeah.
But, during that time, I was angry.
Yeah.
I was so angry. I mean, literally, this is just the truth. I literally said, God, if you don't do something, I'll curse you to the day I die. And I said, I will go around and tell everybody that you are nothing but a fake. And I meant it.
Yeah.
I was dead serious. All the stuff I grew up in church hearing, it to me was nothing but a fairy tale at the point. Because I'm like, who is this God? I mean, truly, who? That you put me here, that I, all these things, right? Poor pitiful me. And that's why I love 1 Peter 5:7. Because, God's not scared of your anger.
No.
God's not scared of what you got to say. So, you know what? He knows it anyway. That's why I tell people, he already knows what you're thinking anyway. So you might as well just tell him and get it over with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it don't matter what kind of language you use or colorful, explicitory things. He already knows you're thinking it.
You know what Psalms 139, 1-4 says? God already knows every word before it's on your tongue. The performance was never actually fooling anybody.
Nobody.
He knows. He knows all of it.
And that's the whole thing, because at that moment, God chose to meet me not in a church.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Where you were.
He didn't need anybody to come talk to me.
Nope.
Yeah.
And you know what the funny thing is God knew that I didn't need anybody to come talk to me either.
You needed him.
I needed a miraculous intersection with him.
Yeah.
And guess what? That's what he did.
And you found it.
Yeah, I found it. And the crazy thing is, you know what put me on that path, honestly? Very controversial book, The Shack.
The Shack. I love The Shack.
It was so, you know, controversial back in the day. Because I'll be honest with you, when it was given to me, I was, you know, it was given to me and said, hey, you really should read this book. I was like, yeah, all right, cool. What's it about, The Shack? He said, well, you know, it's about this guy and, you know, Jesus, he's portrayed as, you know, Jewish carpenter. I'm like, okay, duh. You know, and God is portrayed as a black Southern, you know, just caregiver. I was like, okay. And the the Holy Spirit is portrayed as a Chinese fairy.
Yeah. I
literally laughed and said, I'm jacked up enough as it is right now. You want me to read this? The beautiful moment in that book that literally broke me, that was kind of a prick in the dam for me, is when the person in the book, you know, that's talking, the main character, you know, asked God face to face, you know, why? Because God finally revealed his true self to this person and its character in the book. And that person said, well, why haven't you done this before? And God looked at him and said, I was to you what you needed when you needed it.
That's right.
Right.
And man, when I read that, I broke. Because I was like, well, what do I need and where are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I knew on the same hand that he was going to be to me what I needed when I needed, even though I couldn't see it.
Yeah, always.
And guess what? In that moment, when he came to me, he was everything I needed when I needed it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that is what God, that is in his infinite wisdom, how awesome he is. So, I mean, in this episode of Playing Church and stuff like that, there's no judgment from these three people on this podcast, because guess what? There. We've all been there. We've all done it. We've all got the t-shirt and probably certification from the university.
Mine's not really university. Different certification.
But I mean, it's just a thing of we understand. We've walked it. We've experienced
multiple times.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And I want to give just a word of caution, right? Because you're hearing these stories. You're hearing our stories. That doesn't mean it's yours.
No.
So
it doesn't have to be.
It playing church may also be that, well, if that worked for John, I'm going to try it. It might, but that may not be what you need from him at that moment.
Yeah.
So again, no magic recipe. So if you're listening to this and you find yourself, you're in that moment, there isn't a magic recipe. That doesn't mean go out and feed yourself full, eating Xanax and doing crazy things in the middle of the night. It doesn't mean that you should be running from God and just going to church to keep somebody happy. It doesn't mean that you need to go out and get lost in a bus somewhere and scream and yell profanities at God. That's our stories. That's where we were met by him. He'll meet you right where you need to be. Are you willing to receive it?
Yeah.
That's the key, because in every one of our stories,
we had to be ready.
We had to be ready.
Yeah. And
we had to be at that point.
That takes me to where I want to land this plane with. And that's the word. And I have some scriptures I want to read, because I think it is the flow of what we've talked about. And then how do we not do that? And then how do we end up at the right place? Matthew 23:27-28. Jesus calls out whitewashed tombs, beautiful on the outside, full of death on the inside. He was talking to the people who were very visible, right? That matters. He's talking to the people who looked the right way. They looked the part, but on the inside, nothing.
Full of death. Isn't that good? Whitewashed
tombs.
Full of life on the outside, but dead on the end. Wow, that's so good.
Isaiah 29:13. These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Mm-hmm. In that verse, God names the gap, right? He's not impressed by their performance. Mm-mm. They honor me with their lips, but they're far from me.
Yeah.
Amos 5:21. God tells Israel he despises their religious gatherings. And it's not because the gathering is wrong. It's because their religion had become completely disconnected, the life they lived outside of it. So,
my God,
the next piece of the scriptures I want to read and dwell on for just a second is, so how do we keep from getting there? So James 5:16, confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. That's an instruction.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a communal instruction.
Mm-hmm.
It's instruction to me for you guys, and it's instruction for you guys to me, because otherwise we're going to get completely disconnected. We have to have somebody that's willing to say, hey, you can't live like this. You can't continue to do these things. Psalm 51, the whole psalm, David's most honest prayer after the worst season of his life. And he doesn't clean it up. He doesn't make pretty words for the Lord as he's praying. He just tells the truth about where he is. He's just real honest. And I love that. I love the honesty of David in the Psalms, because you see David who is on the high highs and he's on the low lows. And through every bit of it, he's, okay, Lord.
He's honest.
He's honest about it. And then finally, I'm coming back. So let's talk about the prodigal in Luke 15. The whole story is 11 through 24, but he doesn't come clean himself up before he gets back.
Mm-hmm.
He comes just like he is. He literally comes just like he is. And the beautiful part about that is, and I love this story, it's one of my favorite things to talk about and teach about, his father runs to him.
And the reason why.
He runs to him because he knows he's filthy. And he's bringing that robe to cover every bit of sin that's on him. He's not going to allow his son to come in and for people to see his dirt. Love covers a multitude of sins. And I love that, because that's exactly what he does to us. In those dark, horrible moments 30 years ago for me, where I was in a place I shouldn't have been, he ran to me and he covered me with his love. He covered me from doing things that I shouldn't have done. He covered me and protected me when he had no real reason to, other than he loves me just right where I'm at.
I dug into that story a little deeper.
Tell me.
I think you shared this a couple podcasts ago.
What I love about that is he covered him and covered his mess.
Mm-hmm.
And put the ring on his finger. But also in doing that, by running to him before he got to the people, he protected him from the village.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if they would have gotten to him first, they would have cast him out.
Yeah.
Cast him out, they would have shunned. But by the Father doing that, he wrapped him, like you're saying, in his loving arms, in his love and his kindness. He gave him a ring
Protection,
of
grace.
protection, of grace, of all of it. But then he was also beating the naysayers.
Yeah.
Once he had recognized him as his, they couldn't say anything.
They couldn't say anything else.
They had no right to shun him anymore.
They had no right.
And if you hear nothing else that we've said tonight, Hebrews 4:16, come boldly before the throne of grace. You don't got to get cleaned up.
No.
You don't have to perform.
No.
Come boldly. And here's the thing. The invitation that God's given there, it's not about having your act together at all. It's going, Lord, here's all the pieces. Here's all the Lego pieces. Can you help me rebuild this?
Mm-hmm.
A few weeks ago, we did this Lego set with Sophie. She loves to do Legos, and it was this flower piece. And there were so many pieces. It was overwhelming to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it hit me how much that ties into Hebrews 4:16. Bring all the pieces. Right. I'll put them back together the way they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the instruction manual. I'm going to put them back together exactly like they should be.
You know what one of my favorite altar call songs is maybe people don't use it as an altar call song, but I think they should, but is the song is Come, Just As You Are.
Mm-hmm.
Hear the Spirit call. Come just as you are. Come and see.
Come receive.
Come receive. Come and live
forever.
Forever. Life everlasting. Strength for today. Man, that song right there, it rips me every time, because that's literally what he's saying. I mean, and he says it all over the word. 1 Peter 5:7, cast your cares.
Yeah.
Just cast them all. He doesn't say you have to get to a place, you have to be dressed in a certain way, you have to smell good, you have to have your hair combed right.
That's right.
He said, just cast them on me.
Yeah.
Because I care for you.
Come just like you are.
Come just like you are. And I want to encourage somebody while we're closing, be the person that I couldn't find.
Yeah.
To somebody. B, now, you know what the fun part is? I have a few people that I can really trust, that I know that even I don't care, you know, God help me, I'll never go back to anything stupid again.
Sure.
But if there was a point where I'm really struggling, I've got several people that I now know and trust and have full hearted. They're not going to look at me and judge me. They're going to be like, okay, well, let's get it fixed.
Yeah.
Let's work on this. So I want to encourage you, be that person. Don't be the Pharisee who says, God, thankful that I'm not like these. Be the person, be that person to somebody. Now, I'm not saying go look. It's on you to do the work to prepare.
Sure.
To study, to ask God for grace and love, you know, because you know what? You may be surprised that person may be coming to you, may be in a bad way.
Yeah.
In a really bad way.
Today's the day to stop playing church. And you know, the cool thing too is once you decide that you're not going to play church anymore,
come on.
You know what really happens? You go to such a deeper level.
It's crazy.
When you've experienced truly the grace of God, it changes your walk with the Lord.
Yeah.
It takes you to a different place. And I can tell you, you know, my walk with the Lord obviously has grown over the years, but that season of my life was a marker.
Yep.
And I know what he brought me out of.
Yep.
I know what he brought me out of. I know who I was before that season. I knew who I was during that season.
Yep.
And I know who I've been since that season.
Yes.
It's a marker in my life, and I understand the grace of God and the love that the Lord has for me on a different level because I walked through that. I'm not glorifying walking through that. I hope nobody ever has to walk through that.
Yes, correct.
But whatever your that is, you can walk out of it.
Yep.
And I love that. You don't have to play church. It's okay to go through the motions if you're going through the motions in survival mode to get to the other side. But if you're going through the motions, you're playing church just to check it off your list and because somebody's watching, stop it.
Stop it.
Stop it.
You know what? Tara just spoke last weekend, and the title of her sermon, Enough is Enough.
Enough is enough.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. Just man, we've already landed the plane at that. No. Because you know what? Sometimes people like where they're at.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, how are you? Well, let me just tell you how I am.
Misery loves company.
You know, so again, stop it.
Yeah, stop it.
Stop it.
And that's what we're going to do.
We're going to stop it.
We're going to stop it. Oh, man, that was good. I hope, again, Mom, that's the first time you heard that. Sorry.
She already
Sorry,
knew.
not sorry.
If she's anything like my mama, which I'm pretty much sure she is, she knew.
Yeah. God is good.
At the end of the day, that's what this is. That truly, honestly, is what this episode is about. God is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God can. None of us are celebrating the broken.
Not at all.
Of what we discussed. It is not a bragging or celebrating. Actually, I'm very ashamed of where I was at and what I had to go through.
Yeah.
But yet, on the same hand, the word says, by the blood and the power of testimony. Because you know what? There may be somebody out there who's doing what you did.
Absolutely.
Doing, Jeremy, what you did, doing what I did. And that's the power of the testimony. That's why I say, preachers, if you hear this, roll up your sleeves and show your scars. It's not bragging about it, but it's to me, it's a whole lot easier to relate to somebody who's walked that road.
And here's the true reality of all this. If you are playing church and you don't have a safe space, reach out to us.
Absolutely.
We'll be your safe space.
Yep.
Everybody needs a safe space. So we love you. Thank you
guys
for sticking with us. And we're going to try to do better. So we'll try to be on here more, depending on schedules. But it's good times. I've enjoyed tonight. I love you guys.
Love you guys.
Here's the table I'm saying I love you guys and I love everybody listening. So anyway.
This is a lot of love.
Lots of love.
So much love, man.
Lots of love. Let's go have a brownie. All right. Thanks as always for listening to Two Baptists Walk into a Pentecostal Church. Like and subscribe everywhere you get your podcast.